Hello and welcome to Made for Glory. I am Father Oskari, speaking from Rome, connecting from Rome, and with Lauren from Texas, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So, Austin, Texas. Lauren and I met in Oxford a few years ago. Lauren was doing a doctorate there in theology. I was a visiting academic. And one thing that happened there in that time we met was that once Lauren mentioned a song that I thought I had never heard of. It's by the Australian singer and songwriter Sia Furler. It's a wonderful singer, and the piece is called Chandelier. And I thought, oh, what's that? And so I listened to it, and I realized, oh, well, this is a very powerful song. And so it became a very personal thing for me. And as we moved back to our different destinations, teaching theology and teaching history of ideas there in Texas, I thought we should reconnect and do a reaction and reflection on the song. So this is where we are. So this is a song called Chandelier by Sia Furler and Jesse Shatkin. Was written as the lead single in Sia's sixth studio album, 1000 Forms of Fear. Really interesting title for an album. And it became one of the most memorable choruses of all time. And I'm sorry, I messed up things here. I can cut that afterwards. But anyway. Here we are. So we're gonna do this with a video which has the lyrics here, and there's just a stable image of Sia, kind of not singing but singing, and so here we go.
Party girls, don't get hurt, can't feel anything. When will I learn? I push it down, push it down. I'm the one for a good time call, phone's blowing up. Ring on my doorbell, I feel the love, I feel the love. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. Turn back till I.
Oh, sorry, I had to stop here. It's just
Right as it's
No, because there's just so much going on here. I think we have to go back to the beginning, actually, and to talk a little bit about what's going on here. Now, most of our viewers will have listened to this before, but one of the things I think about this song is that it became so popular about 10 years ago that almost everyone has heard it in the background, but often without really paying attention to the lyrics.
Right.
That's what happened to me, and I've tried with many other people. They say the same. What was, Lauren, your experience of? Do you remember when you heard the song for the first time, had any sort of interaction with it?
Yeah, so I think I'd probably, similar to you, like heard the song playing on the radio or in the background or something, and it came when I was in high school, like midway through, so sophomore year, so second year of high school. But it really kind of hit me, like came out of the woodwork, so to speak, when I was playing, well, sophomore summer, I think it would have been maybe, but I was playing for a competitive soccer team all throughout high school. And it was a group of young women who were trying to play soccer at like Division I colleges in the US. And so it was very intense, and you had to drive far to get to practices and all the rest. And at one point, I was at a practice with a young woman who was in the year above me, so she was like 1 year older than me. And this lady was a central midfielder, and she was just really good. Like everyone on all the teams respected her.
Right.
Not only was she just an amazing athlete, but she was really smart and just really cool. You know, it's like one of those people. And I remember just looking up to her quite a lot. And then was Simi shocked when she talked about like one time driving home after a big party, like drunk. Was very scared that she was going to get pulled over or get in a wreck or something. And I was like, oh my gosh, wow, because that that culture has a very like work hard, play hard kind of
Mm.
life, and there's a lot of pressure trying to play college college soccer at an elite level, and so there's a lot of need for
Mm.
release. Someone posted a link to this like
Mhm.
lyric lip sync video that this amazing woman in the year above me had done, and it was like some sort of mini modeling gig that she had taken up on the side, and
Mhm.
the video was of her lip syncing to this song, to Sia's
Wow.
Chandelier. And so when I was watching that video, it just made me kind of pay attention to the lyrics in a way I hadn't before, because they were being embodied, like literally lip synced by this
Wow.
who was living, albeit not like a pop star, high pressure, high release lifestyle, but one that was very close to what I felt, someone who was
Yeah.
going through the same kinds of things. And so I think for that reason, the song has just kind of stuck with me for a while. And yeah, it has been a kind of interesting mode of trying to think about what does it mean to live in a way that feels in many ways like I'm wrestling through a lot of the same things that Sia is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just go again, and we'll go to the chorus now as well, and continue commenting a bit more on the background, why Sia wrote this song and what's going on there.
Yeah, great.
Party girls, don't get
Party
hurt,
girls
can't
that you
feel
mentioned.
anything. When will I learn? I push it down, push it down. I'm the one for a good time call, phone's blowing up. Ring on my doorbell, I feel the love, feel the love. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. Turn back till I lose count. I'm gonna swim from the chandelier, from the chandelier. I'm gonna live like tomorrow doesn't exist, like it doesn't exist. I'm gonna fly like a bird of the night, feel my tears as they fly. I'm gonna swim from the chandelier, from the chandelier. But I'm holding on for July.
So let's just pause there for a moment. Now, actually, the truth is, usually when I listen to this song, I just can't help crying, and doing video something that's sort of hopefully a backbeat. But
Jeez.
and I remember, so literally the first time I consciously listened to this was in Oxford. I was cycling back from celebrating Mass
Yeah.
there one morning, and you had mentioned the song, and I just had to stop by the road. Like, it hit me so hard. There's so much going on in terms
Yeah.
of the lyrics, the imagery, and everything. Maybe one thing, then I looked up a bit of the sort of background story. There's a really interesting article that tells about how Sia had originally written it with the intention of writing for Rihanna.
Yeah.
And then she said, quote, "As the song took shape, I realized it was personal, and I was attached to it somehow. My intuition told me to sing it myself." Now it's about addiction to, I suppose, mainly alcohol. And yeah, any comment on just the chorus there? And the singing is just absolutely mind-blowing.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah, like every
so-
time I hear it, it gives me chills. Like there's no
Yeah.
way that I can listen to it being unaffected. And I think it's just because it sounds like a scream. That's really what
Yeah.
it is. But it's so beautiful and it's lyrical and haunting, ethereal. I mean, it's just, yeah, I mean, it's really hard to, and I think maybe the other thing is that it feels so capacious in the sense that
Mhm.
she's on top of a canyon or a cliff or something, and
Yeah.
like screaming into the Empyrean heights. Like there's nothing that can
Yeah.
contain this voice. And so that to me is like the amazing tension between what's coming out and what the image is. Like the image she gives is we're in a club and it's dark and there's
Yeah.
chandelier, you know, and like this is
Yeah.
what she's swinging on. So it's like simultaneously, like nothing can contain it, and yet
Yeah.
she's so trapped. And like,
Yeah.
and it's such a beautiful way of capturing that paradox that here she is in the liminal space, you know, between and what's trapped, and it's like swinging somewhere between heaven and earth.
Yeah.
And even the way that her voice, it almost sounds like she's coming up for air too, from like, and part of it from the chandelier. It's like it's kind of, it's like, I don't know, I follow it. I can't sing like this. Yeah, I sing in the 9 a.m. oratory choir, you know, but like, nothing like this. But it's just, I almost hear the physicality of like what it takes to
Yeah.
do vocal performance.
Absolutely. And you kind of feel it. I always get the kind of, it just really grabs you from the bottom of your stomach, like,
Yeah.
and it's sort of it's not uplifting in the simple sense, but it really draws you into that very deep space. I read somewhere that she actually then has said that she hoped that someone else could sing it because it's such a hard song to sing even for her. There was an interesting, just briefly on the chandelier image, like in the same interview I read that she had that idea of swinging from the chandelier for just any random song, like a party anthem or something. And then she says, as I was writing, it turned into a song about my battles with addiction inadvertently.
Wow.
And I thought that's such an interesting kind of observation, because like the fact that it's so hard for us also to know ourselves well and kind of to be truly honest and sincere with what's kind of at the bottom of our hearts. And that's also where music can often help, that it sort of brings out those deep and difficult and challenging realities. Yeah. Shall we continue?
Maybe I can just add one final thought on the voice performance in particular. So actually, not too long ago, I looked up a cover of this song that was performed by Kelly Clarkson, actually, which is kind of fun. You can find it on YouTube. It's some sort of Halloween performance. So Kelly's like wearing the Sia wig and just like singing it a cappella. And of course, she has an amazing voice, like Kelly Clarkson is. But she doesn't. It's in this kind of Kelly Clarkson way, you know, in the sense of it's very full and like robust, and it doesn't have the same kind of like ethereal quality as Sia has. And there are all sorts of ways of kind of containing it, so it doesn't. Kelly performs it in a way that doesn't quite soar and scream in the ways that it does make sense that the song would be so deeply personal, because it doesn't sound even when it's performed by other people, it doesn't hit in the same way.
Exactly, makes sense. Let's go to the second verse.
Won't look down, won't open my eyes. Keep my glass full until morning light. 'Cause I'm just holding on for tonight. Help me, I'm holding on for dear life. Won't look down, won't open my eyes. Keep my glass full until morning light. 'Cause I'm just holding on for tonight. On for tonight.
Now, let me just pause here quickly, just in terms of the lyrics. It's such a wonderful, poetic way of, because on the one hand, the song, the music is almost uplifting and kind of a party anthem of sorts. But then the lyrics are about like, this, help me. I'm holding on for dear life. Like I'm living in this facade, in a sense, like hiding what I'm feeling. But at the same time, I'm shouting out loud that someone will help me. It's such a wonderful.
It's so beautiful. And it's also deeply poetic in the sense of that it's all misdirection, you know? And so it gives you these glimpses. And even at the beginning, right, the first words are, party girls don't get hurt. In a sense, like she's not, I'm a party girl, I'm not supposed to get hurt. It's just, here's the slogan, here's the received wisdom, you know? And then suddenly it's phone blowing up, ringing my doorbell, I feel the love. And then we're in the club, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. So it's like, then suddenly everyone's saying the same thing. So it's not as if we get like one coherent personal narrative, that's thrown together in complete thoughts. It's fragments. And so it's fragments, and the controlling thread is the voice, and what the voice is communicating is communicated through the desperation and this, like more than, and Help Me feels like one of the most kind of honest and explicit parts of the song. But I think that that's what makes a really excellent poem, is to
and storytelling.
hide the deep tension. And I think for me that like strange kind of paradoxical mix of here, as you said, is like the pop star anthem, what sounds like it should be a celebration of this lifestyle, that's actually a deep cry for help to break out of this lifestyle. I think that that hit me in the line of feel my tears as they dry. In the chorus. And I think it hits so hard too, because it's kind of hard to understand what she's saying. Like on the first listen, you just kind of hear the beat and the rhythm and kind of get swept up. But that's the point where her voice almost breaks.
Exactly.
Tears as they dry. So this is why is this why she's swinging on the chandelier the whole time?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, let's continue for a bit.
Sun is up, I'm a mess. Gotta get out now, gotta run from this. Here comes the shame, here comes the shame.
Oh, sorry, I have to pause just here because of the lyrics, because this is one of the things also, like this verse, the second verse is just these 4 or 5 lines. It's very brief. And again, it's so powerful in terms of the narration, but like what's going on and what one is going through. And so I have an older brother who, this is what the first thing that came to my mind listening to this, because I have an older brother who for many years suffered from serious alcoholism, and several years ago he got out of that, thanks be to God. And it's but it was a long story. And then he wrote a book about the whole story really last year, back in Finland, in Finnish, unfortunately. But well, it's a great book. Actually. And one of the things that I really understood reading his story was this experience of shame. So with addictions of all kinds, alcohol, it can be other things. Nowadays, pornography, a lot of people suffer from that as well. The sense of shame that is kind of just paralyzing. It reminds you that something is wrong, but you can get stuck there just in the sort of desperation.
It's so it's right. It's like she's being chased, and it's so compressed, but that's exactly what's being, I gotta get out now, gotta run from this, here comes so it's, and even with the sun is up, right, like every image here is like cyclical in a way. It's like we were like, now the sun is up, I'm gonna run, but yet here it comes again. And so
there's no solution.
And then suddenly we're back in the chorus. It's relentless.
They want to hear that again.
Comes the shame. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. Turn back till I lose God. Like tomorrow doesn't exist, like it doesn't exist. just holding on for tonight. Oh, I'm just holding on for tonight. On for tonight. On for tonight.
Wow. So there it is.
Wow.
Lauren, do you have any thoughts on like why this song hits so hard? So it's been one of the most popular pop songs, radio songs in the last 10 or 20 years. So there's that central image of the chandelier and so on. There's a lot of tension. You have any further thoughts on like why does it speak so powerfully?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, what a good question. I mean, I think that maybe there are two kind of levels to take the question. Like the first being just why does it work so well as a pop song? Do you know what I mean? And like on a formal instrumental or lyrical basis, why does it seem to stick so much? And then that invites a sort of deeper philosophical or even theological reflection on like what are the deep enduring themes? Like what does it seem to draw out of other people's experiences that has some kind of long lasting value, or at least asks a really perennial question. So I think we got, just to take the first level first, I think we got into some of that like previously, talking about it along the way. But anything, I think that maybe one last kind of lyrical note that I'll float, and then I have a question for you, Father Osprey, is I'm just really struck by the beautiful balance it strikes between being specific. And so it invites you into the experience of addiction. Something like you're running from something, you're experiencing something, you feel the shame. It's putting us back in very specific places, be it her bedroom before she goes to the club, or her house before she goes to the club, and then waking up the next day and then back to the club. So it's even spatial in that sense, but it's done so quickly and so powerfully and so concretely. So that invites a kind of, okay, I feel like this is an experience I can enter into and I can fill with my own experiences of similar things. So it helps me kind of work through things or give a kind of coherence to them. But on the other hand, it's not so hyper specific that it only deals with Sia, or it can only relate to one person. And I think a similar kind of song that deals with many of the same things is, I don't know, maybe you've heard of this one. It's called Habits or Stay High.
No, I haven't actually.
Yeah, by a Swedish pop artist, Tove Lo is her stage name. But it's similar. Like it's about a woman who is like dealing with addiction to all sorts of things and feels like she has to stay high all the time to keep you off my mind. But listening to that song and just comparing it lyrically to Chandelier, it's too specific. You know what I mean? It like narrates a woman's day to day from when she wakes up to when she goes to bed. And there's just, it's graphic in ways, and like some of the content is just like, oh man, I didn't really need to hear about these very things. So like the fragmentation and the poetic indirection of Chandelier.
And if I may just come in here briefly, I think it's fascinating how the sort of poetic quality of the Chandelier, that it's very specific in terms of certain images and very upfront about kind of very radical expressions about what's going on, kind of the harsh reality. But at the same time, it stays away from being somehow too nasty about it or kind of too down to earth. It's able to retain that sort of universality in a sense,
and elevation, right? Because like
elevation,
a chandelier is supposed to be something you only see in fancy places, you know. And then the fact that someone's is she trying to break it? Is she, what exactly she's doing? There's a lot of ambiguity there, so it can mean a lot of different things. But at the same time, it's so clear, present, and relentless in a way. And the fact that there's really like the bridge is all of a few lines, and then we're back into this kind of wave-like cresting and falling of the vocal performance. It's just beautiful.
No, I have a thought concerning the second level that you mentioned, kind of the philosophical and theological, which I connect to the Chandelier actually.
Oh, interesting.
I think of this channel is called Made for Glory, and one of the intentions we have is to explore in contemporary music and popular music those themes of the kind of human beings made for glory, made for eternal life, made for holiness, made for that really wonderful elevated vocation, and at the same time often the experience of our wretchedness, of our weakness, our misery, and how those tensions are present in kind of expressed in a lot of music in very powerful ways. I think the image of the flying from the chandelier, in a sense, to my mind, expresses that aspiration for greatness. Like you want to be, like you want to break free from the limitations of your weakness and shame. It doesn't work. It doesn't take you where you want to go. But also almost like the tears that dry on your face, kind of also a symbol of that, like you're yearning for something, but this is not the solution. But at the same time, the yearning is good.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh, it's a vector. It's a kind of aspirational crying out for transcendence. And what's interesting is that tension between like a yearning for freedom and then feeling trapped is also, I think, echoed. I think like any good work, it's going to echo through all pieces of it. Right. And one of the things that was striking to me listening back through it is the kind of militaristic beat of the drums. And I'll defer
it's really interesting
as the drummer, but it's relentless also. And even the way that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, drink. Yeah, we're kind of regimented. You know what I mean? Like this is
so true.
We're under orders. We're following our marching orders in this world. And like this is what the vocals try to break free from. And this is why like, we're swinging on the chandelier. But exactly as you say, it's like, where are you gonna go? Like there's no way of swinging up and out. You're just there on the ceiling. And it's great. So again, it's rhythmic, right? Like it's almost like of a clock or a metronome or something. We don't go anywhere. We just go back and forth and back and forth. And and it's interesting too to think about a club as just another cave. This is a kind of like sort of image we have about trying to break from an unreality into the real world where the sun is. This is just the
that's a great image as well.
Another kind of dark.
I wonder, before we wrap up, any thoughts on, like, we're both Christians and we reflect on these songs and lyrics from the viewpoint of our faith. Any thoughts we might give maybe to people who struggle with these issues and so on? Because obviously a lot of times songs like these, they don't really suggest the answers. They just help you to kind of face the reality and find some sort of sense of, I suppose one reason why songs like this can be helpful is that one of they give you a sense of communion with some other people who have similar experiences. You realize you're no longer alone with that. And that in fact that there are lots of people who feel the same way.
Well, it's very true. And that's, I think, why this song hit so hard, right? And continues to be very well known. I think for me, so when I suppose I actually did listen to this song quite a bit in grad school when I was writing the doctorate, where we met at Oxford. And there was points in time when I would, right after, because I would get up very early and then like try writing, emphasis on the trying of my dissertation and stuff. And then I would just need to I need to go for a run or something. And I would often listen to this song as I was like getting ready to go for a run or whatever. And there was just, I have many distinct memories of just, because I had an eastward facing room in Oxford with a very big window that showed like the hills and all the back. And so there's a kind of deep connection between yearning and wanting something more, seeking a kind of transcendence, but then feeling incapable of reaching it somehow. Only kind of being able to express or articulate the yearning for it. And I was writing my doctorate on the Catholic theologian and philosopher St. John Henry Newman. who's from Oxford, of course, and was just, on November 1st of this year, God, thanks be to God, will be elevated to a doctor of the church, which is very exciting. But one of the things he talks about in one of his big kind of philosophical works is how human nature cries out for revelation and cries out for there's this desire to be known and loved and to have someone to worship and to have someone who calls oneself out of oneself to become more of oneself. That's written
Made for
in
glory.
it's written in human nature. And one of the things that Newman does is he tries to do a kind of like big picture anthropological, just like open your eyes and see how this has always been the case. And he even makes reference to a factory girl in a contemporary novel who cries out of her misery, saying that, if this is my life, this can't be it, because I feel like what I long for and what is inside me is so much greater than the wretchedness that I experience now. And Newman has this very powerful line where he says, this is evidence for revelation. And it's for a lot of the personal as well as philosophical reasons. This to me is like Chandelier is the modern version of that cry of the factory girl.
Amen.
There's not going to be an answer, but this is the question. And I think Newman's point is that, if we take nature to be a complete work of art, to be a complete system, as every reason, or everything we see suggests it is, then how could there be that cry for another world without there being an answer for it? What other could be the point of a kind of unanswerable question? So anyway, those are just kind of some reflections on that second.
Great. Thank you. And that was really interesting also in the sense that I often feel, and chatting with younger people nowadays, that there's a huge interest in transcendence, spirituality, God. So different from when I was growing up, and it's really changed. And so much of it is also has to do with just this experience that someone like Sia expresses in this song. That it's like okay, we don't have answers, but it can't just be this, partying and whatever, and this can't be the point of our existence. So it has to be. This experience needs to be pointing towards something much greater.
And something that breaks out of the cycle, just kind of like in this swinging back and forth.
Exactly. Great. Well, Lauren, thank you so much for joining.
No, it's just fun. Thank you, Father Oscar.
And I hope we can get you as a guest another time. And just to our viewers, sorry?
I was just going to say, just let me know the next song that makes you stop your bike.
Great. Thank you. So for our viewers, if you enjoyed this, please do like and click the subscribe, whatever, all those things, and do continue to follow us and provide some comments on what songs you would like us to comment on and analyze from the viewpoint of Made for Glory. So have a lovely day and evening wherever you are, and hope to see you again. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Father Oscar. Bye.